It was just like yesterday when we said Happy New Year, January 1st, 2022. Now look at today, 13th of December, 2022, and the year is almost over. Good morning, guys. How are you doing today? Or maybe I should say good afternoon or good evening, depending on when you're watching this video, and of course, your time zone as well. Yes, so indeed, it's another wonderful day and we're going to be talking about the market. We're going to be looking at what's happening in the Forex market. We can also talk about the cryptos or whatever. Basically, what's happening that we could easily take advantage of, right? So, as usual, my name is Tolu of CSAFOREX, Common Sense Approach to Forex Trading. And as a quick disclaimer, kindly note that the information, right, of what we're going to be giving you right now, right, is strictly for educational purposes, for learning purposes, right, and not to be used as a form of signal. So the first thing we're going to talk about now, right? The first one we're going to talk about now is the news. I want to quickly look at the news, what we have coming up later today that could affect the market. So as you can see right in front of me, this is December 13th. And if I scroll down, the next major news coming out, or the next news coming out, not necessarily major, is for 9 a.m. And this is Nigerian time, 9 a.m. Nigerian time, which should be 8 a.m. UK time, right? So in 30 minutes, we have the SECO economic forecast, which is not really a major news. But the major news will be coming up by 12 p.m. Nigerian time, which is 11 a.m. Nigerian time, which is for the pound, where we have the Bank of England. The Governor Bailey will be on the wires giving a speech. But the one I want us to really focus on for today is coming out by 2:30 p.m. Nigerian time, 1:30 p.m. UK time. Make sure that you match this time zone, this news to your own time zone, please, right? So that you don't make a mistake in when the news will be coming out for your own time. So by 2:30 p.m. Nigerian time, we have the big one, the CPI, Consumer Price Index, very key, and of course has to do with inflation. And if you are not already aware, inflation has been very big this year. It has affected a lot of, or let me just say globally, that's inflation for you. And then based on this inflation, right, you need to be aware that CPI, when the news comes up for CPI, a lot of things could happen based on the volatility that is. You could easily have slippage, you could easily have spread increments, you could have whipsaws, and a whole lot of other things. If you remember the CPI that came out in August, there was slippage all over the place. When I say all over the place, on different brokers. So you need to understand the market and what's happening. So later, also by 11:30 p.m., we have the Reserve Bank of Australia, Governor Lowe, that will be giving a speech on the wires as well. That should also move the market for the Australian dollar currency pairs, right? So I said let's just quickly start with the news so you are aware of when we could easily have volatility in the market. Now let's cross over to the charts. Let's look at a couple of charts from the higher time frames. From the intraday time frame perspective, the market is still a bit slow. Most times it could take a little while for the market to pick up. And then of course, if you watched yesterday, if you were with us yesterday, you notice that we talked about the liquidity. When it comes to the liquidity, the market is gradually what? The market is gradually thinning out because of the holidays. After this week, right, by next week will be like 20th. Trust me, next week, towards the end of next week, the market would even thin out the more. Liquidity will drop, volatility might be, on the low as well, and a whole lot of other things might as well happen. If you ask me, in the market for this year, it's more or less over. So you could use the remaining time to check on how January was, how February was, all the way down to December, and just have a better feel of the market. Now, quickly, this is the USD JPY. This USD JPY, by the way, we've been talking about this throughout the year. When I say throughout the year, if you look at from January, you can see over here is January 18th. Don't forget this is the daily time frame. But from January period all the way. Look at what happened throughout this year, all the way to about October. It was what? It was one way. It was a one-way traffic for the USD JPY, extremely bullish. Where we're saying, oh, that the dollar yen seems to be on steroids, that there's nothing that is stopping it. But look at what we have now. You can see now for a few weeks, for a few months, maybe like 2 months, 2 months plus, it has retraced heavily. This retracement could even be a continuation, who knows, and then it might continue to drop down. I want to explain this to you so that you have an understanding of what's happening here, and probably there might be an opportunity or two for you to be able to take advantage of. And don't forget, we're going to look at a few instruments, right? Don't forget, this is also our what's happening in the Forex market, but in video series. And then I asked yesterday if this is good for you guys or you prefer the write-up. And then a lot of people said the video is good, it's easy for them to understand what's happening and so on. So we'll continue with the video series for a little while and then see how it goes. So let me clean this up quickly. Let me just clean up this chat, and I want to show you what's going on based on support and based on resistance. You can see that we mapped out some key areas. Here was former resistance. After it broke out here, acted as support here, came back, acted as support here. You can see we're mapping out some key areas here of support and resistance. If you look at what we're doing here, support and resistance. And then if you look at what happened over here, this was a good story here. Over here, we had this area here, right, as resistance, right? And as resistance, after price broke out here, it came back and acted as support. You can see it acted as support bouncing up, but then it did not get back to these highs, which was supposed to be a resistance point. I did not get back to these highs. This area was acting as support, right? So I did not get back to these highs. It was also showing weakness, and it was coming back again. Look at the size of this candle. This is the daily time frame, don't forget. Look at the size of this candle. We had a massive, this most likely must have been news. Maybe I could check. Maybe this might have been even NFP or something, but I have to go back and check properly. But this definitely must have been news. As you can see, we had a big drop past this area of support, right? Past this area of support. As it broke out, look at what happened. It rushed back to this here. This was resistance, and then reacted to it, pushed up a bit, and then came back again, acted to this area. One thing you would notice, and that's why I like price action, support and resistance trading, is that price would usually respect these areas. So look at what's happening now. Let me just clean up a bit of this. Look at what's happening now. Now, price has gotten back to this other side that acted as resistance here. You can see acted as resistance here when it went down, acted as support here. Now look at where it is. If it gets back to this place, we should expect this place to also act as resistance. But this would be a good place on the daily time frame to look for short opportunities, selling opportunities, to take it back down, maybe to here, or maybe it could break down. But then don't forget, I said something not too long ago. Liquidity is what is drying up fast because of the holidays, the Christmas period, right? So let's still pay attention to this. This might not occur this year. It might drag a bit before dropping, but then don't forget, we checked on the news, we checked on the fundamentals first thing, and then we have what? We have the CPI, Consumer Price Index, later today. Very, very key data for the dollar, and it usually comes with good enough volatility. I repeat, it usually comes with good enough volatility, right? So now with what we just said over here, let's pay attention to the news today. And please try not to trade the news directly. Some people might try to position themselves, wait for the news outcome and trade the news. I don't advise to trade the news directly because it comes with high volatility. So this is the dollar yen here. And then also from my little analysis, I want us to revisit the Euro USD. If you remember Euro USD from yesterday, we talked about this from the monthly time frame, explaining to everybody what is happening based on support, 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 support. Now it's at the area of resistance where we're expecting, to get an entry to take it back down to these lows. So I want to do something now. From this monthly time frame, I want to switch over to the daily, right? Because Daily will give us a discounted entry, meaning that you can get an entry with a smaller amount of a stop loss, but for that same amount of take profit. One thing I want you to note that in this, what is happening in the Forex market series, it is not a training. I'm just here to give you the visuals, what's happening in the market, and then of course you could do the needful yourself. So now if you look very well, I'm just going to draw this pattern here where you can easily see a sort of uh, rising triangle, right? Rising triangle, and I could just drag this a bit here to show you that in this area here, you can see that the market is struggling here in this rising triangle, meaning that this would be a good place to enter to sell with a discounted entry. You could enter somewhere here, or you wait for price action, and then you have a small stop loss like this with a massive take profit like this, which would be a good profit margin. Don't forget, this is Euro USD, so you pay attention to the US dollar, what is happening to the dollar, later today's CPI. Pay attention to this area as well. You can as well drop down to the lower time frames, the intraday, probably maybe like the 30 minutes or 1 hour. Do not drop down lower. I don't advise dropping down below 30 minutes as it might as well be very, very noisy. And the noisier it is, you might as well get too many opportunities, meaning that you might have too many failed entries before you get it right. And a lot of traders cannot stomach losses, right? So a quick one now, finally on the Bitcoin, right? On this, let me just drag the Bitcoin in. We talked about this yesterday as well, but I just want to quickly show you something else again that I noticed from the Bitcoin. I mentioned this in the write-ups, but this is the video series. If you look over here, we have a little channel here. We have a little channel here. If I do this for you, you will see a little channel here in this format. So if you look at what's happening here, we are expecting what we're expecting the market from this channel or from this flag to drop down. And of course, if you drop down maybe to the next lower time frame, the 4 hours, you would see it better. I could just adjust this a bit more, bring it a bit more to the downside, right? You could see this as it's moving inside this channel. Look at the channel we're talking about, right? Moving inside this channel. And then you can see it's looking weak. Normally you'd have loved to see it push higher to this area, but it's beginning to look weak, and then it might as well drop down. If it drops down, use this place as a form of resistance, and then get an entry to drop further down to this 15 area. Trust me, another retest of this 15 area, and then we might as well get the 12K, 10K area of support, untested support that a lot of traders have been talking about for a while, and then they are expecting price to get to. Don't forget, if this doesn't happen in this month of December, then most likely early January, when proper liquidity comes into play, we might as well have that happen. I'm looking at the timing, so I don't to talk for too long and make this too lengthy. Also, let me know if this video is a bit lengthy. I could always try to do a better summary, but I always like also when all of this discussion is well detailed so that you watch it and then you understand it thoroughly. Don't forget, this should be used as a form of learning purpose, educational purpose, and not as a form of signal, please, right? That is a big disclaimer. And then also, please also note that as we're sharing this information with you, you have any questions, you can always reach out. You can comment in the section below, right? You can reach out in the DM or in any way whatsoever, and then we would have a quick chit chat. You are also entitled, you would have a free strategy consultation with me, free discussion with me. Let's find out what's happening with your trading, how's the trading this year, and then let's see how we can help you out. I'm going to be calling in today here. We talked a bit about the Euro USD, the daily time frame. We talked a bit about the dollar yen also, and then also this Bitcoin that we have in front of us, and of course, how to approach the market. There's nothing much from the intraday point of view for now, but maybe tomorrow, if we have something come up, then we could do videos based on that. And then also, in the course of this week, I'm going to be doing another video with respect to the guidelines of trading, things that you need to know with respect to trading. And I believe that that video should be helpful. So stay tuned. If you are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you are notified when the video drops immediately, so you watch it while it is fresh and hot, just like bread out of the oven. Don't forget to like this video, share the video, make comments, and then let's create some activity here, and then we'll see what we can do for you, right? So thank you guys. It has indeed been a good one. I'm rounding up now, calling it a day. Enjoy the rest of the day. Please ensure to trade safely. There's key data coming out later today for the dollar CPI. We have the Reserve Bank of Australia's governor, Lowe, that will be giving a speech later today. Promises to be, to carry high volatility. So you need to be careful so that you don't enter any form of whipsaw or slippage or spread increment and the rest of them. Okay, thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of the day and trade safely. God bless.